So
the
when the
Indian
prices are
prices.
not satisfactory, it has a negative impact on someone, right? The positive impact is that as a consumer, we have lot of goods to choose from. We have them from competitive price. We have them at a competitive price. Okay, but the ill effect to a consumer, the disadvantage is that sometimes we buy things which we don't require also just because we have that choice in the market. We go on buying things, right? Are you understanding this? Secondly, as you were talking of
Yes.
the consumers, I mean, we finished of consumers. Now, when we talk of producers, okay, when we talk of producers, what happens is they sometimes, okay, don't get what exactly they deserve for their work. Why? Why do you say so? Because in your textbook, there is one sentence which says that the impact of globalization on producers and workers has not been uniform. It is not same as it gives a choice to the consumers. Why is it so? Okay, sometimes they don't get a price that they require because you remember we studied that sometimes these MNCs they outsource their work, correct? They outsource their work, and when they are outsourcing their work, they get it done at a cheaper price. Okay, so when they uh, get this work done at a cheaper price, then the problem is that the person who is producing or manufacturing that will end up getting less payment from the MNC. And so when he's employing people to work in his firm, he's also paying them less. Are you understanding? Yes, we took example of Levi's, and I said that those jeans are being getting stitched from some local organization in some poor Asian country. Okay, but now Levi's wants that production to be done at a cheaper price, so they are going to pay less to that organization, to those tailors who are going to get that stitched for them. Are you accepting that? So when that local tailor is actually employing n number of other people to get his job done, he is also paying them less, so they are unhappy. Correct? So, see here, when we talk of this statement, it has not been uniform. It means that they were not very happy because these producers or the workers, they are not getting enough remuneration for their uh, work. Is this clear? Are you understanding?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can
Yes.
you just repeat the point you said?
I said that the impact on consumers is good, it is positive, but the impact on local producers and the workers is not all that correct. They are not happy about it at times because, they are working for more time, but they are getting less paid for it. They don't have job security because what happens ultimately, the goal of MNC is that my job should be done, my work should be done. So if the work is not done, I will remove that person from the job and I will employ somebody else. Are you understanding? So foreign companies are demanding more flexibility in the labor laws. So labor laws should be tightened because otherwise the MNCs are taking advantage of it. Okay. So top Indian second positive aspect from Indian point of view is that we had seen one example of Mahindra and Mahindra and Ford. Remember? Yes. So which was the local company and which was the MNC?
MNC was Ford and local company was Mahindra.
Good. So now what is this benefiting? See this. It is benefiting the local company because now they don't have to invest. The foreign investment is done and they are just collaborating. Okay, they are working in collaboration with foreign companies and hence they are getting international recognition. Correct? So that is one positive aspect. Are you accepting this?
Yes.
Earlier, Mahindra and Mahindra may be famous only in Indian markets, but now they have a name for themselves in the world market. You remember, no? Even Tata Motors. Which was that which Tata Motors overtook? One car they overtook, right, from international market.
Jaguar.
And Range
Range
Rover. Yes,
Rover.
Range Rover and Jaguar. Right. So, when Tata Motors has now taken over this, that means it has given a local company like Tata. You remember when industrialization started in India, Tatas were one of the first people to start their steel, iron and steel plant in Jamshedpur. So
Yes.
Tata is one of the oldest established industry in India. So, but even in spite of that, it was still a local company. But once Tata has taken over these two top models, what has happened? Tata has now become an MNC. It is known as a well known company in the world market. Some other examples are Infosys, Ranbaxy, Asian Paints. These are all names that we know, right? They are all Indian companies, but now they have turned up into MNC. Correct? Yes. The next advantage is that these companies, you remember you wrote the third point when they expand, the MNCs, when they used to expand themselves in developing countries, they used to outsource their work. One outsourcing was this, we took example of service sector, we took example of customer care service being established in India, correct? So this is giving lot of job opportunities to people who are doing data entry work or they are doing administrative tasks. So now can you quickly list the positive aspect of globalization? Yes, who can tell me positive aspects of globalization?
It has helped a lot of Indian companies to emerge as MNCs.
Okay, then it has also created new opportunities for companies
Yeah,
providing service. So those especially in those in involving in IT.
and
Okay, and
ma'am,
for
and
whom
ma'am, producers have also benefited, no?
producers have benefited? Okay, large scale producers have benefited. I accept. But what about some small scale producers? They won't get any profit. So they are unhappy about it, right? So for them, it has not been a positive impact. So here two examples are given in your textbook. I want you all to read it later. Okay. So these are examples about how one person named Ravi, his unit was affected because of the rising competition in the market. You know, right? When there is a competition in the market, you land up paying um, lesser money to a good quality product also, because finally you want to sell your product in the market, but there are 10 different people who are also selling similar kind of product. Correct, no? So you don't get the
Yes.
desired amount of money for it. So ultimately it affects the money that we are earning, it affects our standard of living also. So this example gives you about how Ravi's small production unit was affected. And then there is this another example of this lady who was working in a garment industry, and it is a similar kind of example which we have discussed when we discussed the example of Levi's. Okay, so they are also earning less, or sometimes their factories are even shut down, or sometimes their factories are moved to far off places because they have to save back on rent, and they open up in places where the rent is less, so then they have to travel too much. So these examples are giving you about how globalization has brought about negative impact also on people. Okay. Now, what is this struggle for fair globalization? Last time, what we studied was a debate which asked us a question. What was that question? Do you remember? When we did that debate in WTO, what was the question? Is this free and fair trade? Free means which policy?
Uh,
Liberalization. Earlier, there were trade barriers, right? As soon as India won independence, there were trade barriers. But later, these trade barriers were removed, and India started following a practice of liberal trade, that is free trade. Okay. Now, we discussed last time also this free trade, it is giving some advantage to the people and it is not giving advantage to some countries, right? The advantage is, what is the advantage? If you have freedom to trade anywhere in the world, what is the advantage?
ma'am,
We will
cheaper
get
rate.
a good profit.
You can just simply, I mean, your goods or
Yeah, yeah.
services
We can,
reach
we
any,
can,
yes,
we can put a price of our own choice.
uh, not always, but at least your products will reach n number of countries without any
Oh yeah.
problem. correct? And it will give a
and
uh,
and no restrictions of government will be implied
yes,
on it.
yes. So now we are going to quickly recap what we have done. So here it says globalization has worked out to be beneficial for consumers, especially in urban areas, as it brings with them wide variety of goods that are being offered at economical rates, and they are also exposed to higher standard of living. Can you explain me here what this higher standard of living must be meaning? Any idea? If world class goods are available in our own country, it increases our standard of living. How is it possible?
Ma'am, because the goods are available at a cheaper rate, so they can buy.
Yes, correct. So ultimately, what you would have actually bought when you visited those countries only, now you can get in your own country at a cheaper price. So you're saving back on money. Plus, these MNCs have also provided job opportunities to many people. So that is another way in which they are earning money. Correct. So now let us look at the standard, how different sections are benefited. So abundant employment opportunities, which we discussed just now. Then increase in production, because of which some Indian MNCs themselves some Indian companies themselves have become MNCs now. Then in India, you have easy availability of qualified, but people who are ready to work at a lesser price also. Like I saw somebody had written that because the Indian population is more. Yes, because the population is more, people are in need of jobs. So they are ready to work at a cheaper rate also. And you should not forget that most of the Indians are also educated. And when we are talking of this customer care services and all these, there are people who are educated, and there are people who are also well aware of the technology. So you have engineers also present over there. So you have qualified and cheap labor. Okay, in case of smaller producers or workers, globalization has not been so kind. The competition within the market kills their business and they have to struggle for their livelihood. So, in the market, if everyone is going to have similar kind of products, like for example, when Diwali comes, everyone is selling crackers. When Holi comes, everyone is selling colors. So the thing is, when in the market you have same product sold by different people, obviously the competition rises, and as a result you actually land up making lesser profit, because ultimately you have to sell, and you sell that at a lower price. So MNCs have also prompted the need to provide goods at a cheaper rate. So how do you think local companies can achieve this? Local companies, now why do you think workers are not satisfied? Workers are not satisfied because when a company is opened, okay, you have lot of things to take into consideration. That is electricity to run your factory, water, then land on which your industry is set up. So that may be a bought up land or it may be a rented land. So if it is a rented land, you are spending too much money on rent. And of course, you are spending on the salaries and wages of the people who are working there. So these are called as overheads. Now, when an MNC invests in India, for them, they cannot cut down on electricity, they cannot cut down on water, they cannot cut down on rent, because they are actually in working in collaboration with that local company. So those prices cannot be cut down. What can be cut down? Salary, correct? Yes. So what they do is they hire temporary. You know that there are two kinds of workers who are available. One are permanent workers and one are temporary workers. Permanent workers are the ones who work continuously in one organization and they get the end of service benefits. Whereas temporary ones are the ones who are just simply working as and when the need is there. So if you have work for 2 months, they are ready to work for 2 months. So it's like if it's for 1 year, they are ready to work for 1 year. So they don't get any end of service benefits. So what happens is that is the reason they just get their annual salaries, but they don't get any perks. They don't get any thing extra than that. So basically, the workers are actually facing the problem of this globalization. Okay, so then do you call all this a fair globalization? No. Then what can government do to ensure that this globalization is a fair globalization? Is that first and foremost ensure labor laws are implemented. Now, what are these labor laws?
Minimum Wages Act.
Minimum Wages Act, correct. Wonderful. Then make judicious use of trade barriers. What is trade barrier? You know that some taxes are imposed on imports, or you know that quota system is introduced on goods. So have such kind of policies. Don't allow complete free trade, because if complete free trade is allowed, your local market will be filled with, it will be continuously filled with foreign goods, and your own people will suffer. So make judicious use of trade barriers. Don't impose too much of it also, that nobody is interested in investing in my country. But appropriate amount of quota system or appropriate kind of tax should be introduced. Okay. Grant the workers their rights. So if they are sick, they should have right for sick leave. Okay, or they should have right for paid sick leave. Make some laws which will grant them their rights. Okay. Collaborate with developing countries. Means what? You saw that debate, right? The developed countries, they said what? We want free trade for other countries, but when it comes to our own country, we are only going to impose trade barriers. So what these developing countries can do is they can join hands with each other, and then they can actually uh, negotiate or talk with the World Trade Organization to have fair policies for foreign trade in their country as well. You understood this point? Have you understood the last 2 points? Any doubt in that? Who can tell me what it means? See, when you expect you also get the same treatment like the other developed countries, then what we can do is we can join hands with the people who are with the countries who are facing the same problem. Okay, so all developing countries are facing the same problem. That is, they are allowing free trade to everyone, but when it comes to their people going and trading with other countries, developed countries, those countries are putting barriers. So it is not helping them in any way. So they can join hands so that you can talk out your problems, get solutions from WTO. Is this clear? Now, what there is
Yes,
one more
ma'am.
thing that the government does to promote this international trade, okay, or opening up of MNCs, and that is SEZ, which is called as Special Economic Zones. So, as the name suggests, what does special economic zones will do? Economic zones means where you can earn money from that, right? So these are places which are set up in areas which have a good network of transport. There are world class electricity, storage, and water facilities that are available. And if you are providing such a space to some outside country to set up their industry or company over there, those people would be interested in setting it up in a foreign country, right? So if you provide this facility to to a company from USA, they will be eager to set up. To add to it, what they are doing, the government of our country is also giving them a exemption in tax for first 5 years. Are you understanding? And they are also saying that if you set it up here, we will have some flexibility in our labor laws also. So these are certain things that are done also by the government of any country so that they can encourage foreign investment in our countries. Is it clear? So have you understood? Only one thing I want to tell before we wind up for the day is that I read your answers. You are getting mixed up with the point where what does an MNC do to expand itself in a country, and what are the benefits when an MNC joins with a local company. Okay, so you are getting confused in that. Please read page number 57, 58, 59, or go through the previous slides on and the recording so that if there is any confusion yet, you will be able to clarify it. So when it comes to expansion, you have to write points like they actually work in collaboration with the local companies, or they take over the local companies, or they buy up local companies. That is the way they expand, or they outsource their work. That is the expansion. But when it comes to um, the advantages of collaborating with them, that is working with a local company. It is the foreign company is investing in machinery, etc., and the local company is benefiting from the latest technology. Okay, so don't get mixed up. Read the pages again and find out the correct answer and write. Is this clear? So next time we'll be starting with the next chapter. So I hope there is no doubt in this. All your concepts are clear. Yes. Okay. See you all. Bye bye.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.